Thank you everyone for joining. This is Celestia Core Devs Call number 30. And today we'll be talking about what's going on in Celestia World. So I actually don't think we have any updates from working groups this week, but I do want to leave the floor open for anyone from the DA interface or ZK working groups. If you have an update, now would be a great time to share that.
Okay,
And if
I
not,
can
we'll
start from the interfaces working group.
nice.
Is that
Yeah.
there's a Celestia client library is being worked on, and there's a RC available. I will post the link after the call, which is a Golang library that you can use to communicate with Celestia network, and in like low overhead setup, which means like it will not do sampling or header sync. It will only communicate to the trusted node you have. So in case you have a trusted node, you don't need to run the node itself. So yeah, and this is being actively worked on, so it will be available in next months.
And I think this basically allows you to post and retrieve, like at a high level, post and retrieve blobs, for example, uh, to and from Celestia without running your own node. So you can basically plug in an RPC that you trust and do that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you can also like maintain your own keys, so you can sign and submit your blobs from this library.
Cool. Yeah, I was trying that out myself yesterday, so I'm excited for more people to use it. And yeah, I guess if you want to share that in the chat for anyone who's watching that wants to take a peek, that would be great. Are there any updates from the ZK working group?
No updates.
Cool. I dropped my mouse. Sorry. Right. So thank you, Vlad, for sharing that. We'll jump right into CIP updates, which are actually pretty much the same as last week or last meeting. But just for visibility and for anyone who's new on the call or new to watching, we have a CIP 33, which is a Lotus network upgrade. This is going to be V4 of Celestia app. And this is a meta CIP, which includes CIPs 31, 29, 30, 31, and 32. I don't know why I put them out of order again. But I guess if you have any questions on that upgrade for the authors or just for the core devs, now is a good time to ask. Um, but these are all in final state and are going to be included in that network upgrade. Another one that is kind of still a work in progress is header pruning for light nodes. I think this is it's in review right now. It's been there in review for a little bit more than 2 weeks. So now would actually be a good time to talk about moving that to last call if Glib is here. But we can also do that next time. So going back to V4, I think it jumped around a little bit there. The V4 RC has been a work in progress, I guess. We're on the 6 RC, which is being tested with Celestia Node. And assuming that goes well, there should be a release candidate or a release for Arabica sometime in the next few days, hopefully. So once that's ready for Arabica, the DevOps team will be upgrading Arabica to V4. And as a kind of heads up for anyone who, if you do run a node on Arabica, like an Explorer or something like that, you're going to need to upgrade both consensus and DA nodes before the V4 activation height. If you do it after, you'll have to just restart your node. So I want to leave the floor open for a second for any questions around V4. If you have questions about how that's going to work or anything, Now's a good time. Or I guess comments or feedback or anything. I will take silence as a no. And just like in terms of maintenance, I was flipping through the site earlier and noticed there's some CIPs that are in like draft status that should be moved around or in another status that should change. And something that is from a while back now is CIP 15, which is about discouraging memo usage. I don't think that's a problem anymore. So I guess I wanted to propose moving that to withdrawn. This doesn't need to happen right now, but in the next few weeks, if we agree on that, uh, probably a good idea to just move that, change the status on that. There's another CIP 16, which is to make security related governance parameters immutable. I think this was something that was maybe a good idea in the past, but no longer necessary. So thinking about moving that to withdrawn as well. I think CIP 23 is about coordinated pre-vote times, and this is one that could just stay in draft for now until we implement it. I think Callum wrote that, and I don't think it's been implemented yet, but I was curious
I
if
don't
you
think
could
there's
confirm that.
yeah, I don't think there's any current plan to implement it. So I would move it into withdrawn, and if our mind changes for whatever
Okay,
reason, we can always resurrect it.
cool. Yeah, I guess that's another one then that we can move to withdrawn. Um, there's a CIP that I think should stay in review still. I think this is Nash Q. Yep.
Yeah,
Um,
there was
and this
discussions
is
about having
removing
this in V5. So I think
Yeah,
yeah, we still
cool.
want it in review.
We'll leave that one in review. And Glib, if I don't think you're here, if we want to move, I messed up my notes here. It's currently in draft. But I was thinking that we could move that to review, assuming we all think header pruning for light nodes is a good idea. Um, but we can also wait till Glib is on the call next time to do that.
I think we can do that.
Yeah, cool. Um, And then there's some that I think we might have missed moving to last call and then finalizing, which is CIP 18, standardized gas pricing and estimation interface, which I believe is live. Callum, if you could correct me if I'm wrong there. So
It is in use. Yeah.
yeah, so I think we need to move that to last call, just honestly as a formality, and then move that to final after the last call period has ended.
Yeah.
And then for CIP 19, Schwab is also still in review, but should be moved to final after last call. And CIP 34 is another one where we're lowering the sampling and pruning window to 14 days. That's currently in review. And I actually don't know how urgent that is to get in. I think that's going to be a V5 change.
Yes, but I think there's still discussion around the actual time. So the
Cool.
14
Yeah.
days about whether that should be that or 1 week. So I would leave this in review, and once that discussion has happened, we can adjust it accordingly and move it into last call.
The current discussion
Cool.
is that we might keep the pruning window at 14 days and the sampling window might be enough to be 1 week. So we might split it out or keep it in one CIP, I'm not sure yet, but there'll be some edits, at least the discussion.
So I think, yeah, that's good context. And on that note, I don't have anything else to talk about today. I do want to leave the floor open if anyone does have questions or comments on anything we've gone over. And then I guess a reminder again for anyone running a node on Arabica to keep an eye out for that activation height.
Yeah, I just wanted to double click on that. The V4 activation height delay is only 1 day. So please stay tuned to the upgrade announcements channels on Telegram and on Discord, just so that you can upgrade your nodes before V4 goes live on Arabica. And the other thing to call out is V4 includes this new feature called a multiplexer, which is like still quite fresh, quite new. It basically embeds a V3 binary in V4. So if you encounter any issues or edge cases with that on Arabica, please let us know. Please like create issues, especially in the Celestia app repo. That would help us a lot before we ship this to mainnet.
Awesome. Thank you, Tool. I think that's all we have today. I'm going to leave the floor open for just another second, but I think we can go ahead and talk about our next meeting, which should be on May 27th, Tuesday at 3 p.m. UTC again. Sweet. I think that's all we have today. Thank you for coming, everyone, and we'll see you in Slack and in Discord and Telegram.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.